Hello and welcome back to Out of Mana, the video game podcast where we talk about games, consoles, and developers, old and new, along with some of the hottest gaming news. I'm Garrett.
I'm Ben.
And we'll be your co-host this January 9th, Sunday.
2021.
Yeah, it's 2021. I had to think about it for a second.
Welcome to the new year and Happy New Year. And this is our first episode of the new year.
Yeah, we're pretty excited to be back. It was nice to have a little break. It gave us some time to, relax.
Yeah.
Catch up on some shows, play more games. Did you do anything special this holiday?
It was a pretty I would say special holiday. Yeah, I'd say it was special because it was the COVID holiday.
Yeah.
It was the pandemic holiday. It was the holiday of not much family stuff, but as you experienced because you were included.
Yes.
Our family still kind of did something, but it was very interesting because it was kind of distanced.
Yeah, a little distance. You got the masks. You got all the extra precautions.
All the extra drama that went along with it.
Yeah, I mean we did like gifts and cookies, right?
Gifts, cookies, and in the background. I mean, you didn't get experience it, but I got experience the game of telephone between my sister and my mother, and who gets to go where, who can go where, who is safe to go where, and that was fun.
Well, I'm glad we were able to work something out.
Yeah,
because we're all relatively safe. It's a very small bubble.
It's a pretty small pod of people, and it was a good holiday. It was I'd say yes, it was a special holiday,
and we're all healthy. Luckily,
we are still healthy.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you got me a nice little gift this holiday season.
I did. Go ahead and share.
Yeah. So Ben got me Spider-Man Miles Morales for PS5.
The Ultimate Edition.
The Ultimate Edition, so I get the remastered version of the 2018 game, which is great because when I originally played that, it was one of those situations where I got the free trial of GameFly, which is like Netflix for video games, except they still mail it to you and all that good stuff.
The good old days.
The old Netflix. And yeah, I got like halfway through the game and I spent all my time just doing collectibles and I never actually finished it. So now I have a perfect excuse to go back, plus the Miles Morales version, which everyone keeps raving about.
Raving about with it's one of the new generation titles that is not glitchy as hell.
Exactly, and I unfortunately haven't played too much of it, but I did dive into a little bit, which I'll talk about later. Ooh. And it's a difference.
Ooh, that sounds tasty.
And let's see here. You got a game for Eric as well too. You guys played that, right?
We did, yes. So for my housemate Eric, I got him Pikmin 3. Yeah,
and that was originally on the Wii U?
That was originally, I believe, released in 2012 or 13. I think 2012.
Okay.
And yeah, it was for the Wii U. It kind of still is reminiscent of that. Like the Switch version is only so updated, but it was fun. We had fun. We actually played it and beat it in one night.
Yeah, it has a co-op mode, right?
We did co-op, and
that's cool.
It was fun. I have not played Pikmin since the GameCube. Like I have not touched a Pikmin game since GameCube.
Like Pikmin 1?
Pikmin 1. And I know Pikmin 2 came out like in 2004, 2005. Mm-hmm. So that's an old game too, but I never played that one. I only played Pikmin 1 when it was first released. And so Pikmin 3 was my foray back into the genre.
Did you ever play Pikmin 2?
I watched Eric play it. He's a big fan of Pikmin 2, and I watched him play it a bit. Maybe I did play like some of the, I don't know, one of the multiplayer modes of it, but it wasn't only for like a hot minute.
I think I was there too that day.
Yeah.
Because he made us play it.
To be honest, Pikmin 2 didn't really appeal to me because it has more of a gamey atmosphere than Pikmin 1. Pikmin 1 was kind of more atmospheric and more like world discovery. Mm-hmm. Like, ooh, look at these monsters. It's much... one of the notable differences is that the camera is far more zoomed in with Pikmin 1 than it is with 2 or 3.
Okay.
So 2 or 3 has more of like a gamey vibe where you're playing the game and it's like tactical. Pikmin 1 is more like it's zoomed in. You're kind of experiencing everything very real time and very like, oh my god, that's a monster, I'm gonna run.
That's what I thought. Pikmin, yeah, you explained it pretty well. Pikmin 1 felt more of like a story adventure.
Yeah.
Where you're just, okay, I'm on this new level. What's in store for me here?
Yeah.
Whereas the second game, it felt like, this is the level and these are the objectives you need to beat and you got to do it in time.
That is exactly it, yeah. And yeah, Pikmin 1, I loved the hell out of Pikmin 1. I remember when I first played it, I played at my neighbor's house. Mm-hmm. And we were children. I mean, we were kids. And I remember she she couldn't beat the game in 30 days. The game has a 30-day time limit.
Yes.
And she started crying, and her mom came in and she's like, "Oh, honey, what's wrong?" And she's like, "This game is so stupid. I couldn't beat it in 30 days. It's not fair." And then like, I don't know, like a few months later, I got the game for myself and I beat it just fine. Because it was one of those friends where you had to go to the house and you had to watch them play.
Yeah.
So I played it myself and I loved it. I loved it. I loved the time limit. I loved the challenge. I loved the discovery. I loved everything about the game and how kind of dark and horrifying it was. Because watching your Pikmin get eaten and killed by these horrible monsters is dark. It's scary.
It was a really interesting experience because I remember I was probably more like her, honestly, where I didn't finish the game, nor did I run out of time. It was just one of those, I think I rented it, and I was getting too stressed out by the time limit, so I'm just like, it got to the point where I just stopped playing because I was just nervous I wasn't going to beat it in time. Yeah. And I had to return the game.
It gets close. Like, on your first playthrough, especially if you don't know what you're doing, like, you can cut it really close.
And that's the thing, is like, I don't know why I got so nervous, because worst case scenario, you just start over, and now you know what to do. So, like, your second playthrough, you should be fine. But, yeah, like, a Nintendo game where it's all friendly and happy, and these little Pikmin thing with smiling faces are just getting munched up.
It is incredibly delightful and bright. The first world in the first Pikmin game is like this bright, grass, green, springtime. You basically have the rite of spring playing in the background, and then you have these horrible beanbag monsters called Bulborbs.
That's what I was trying to think of the name of them.
Which just munch your Pikmin up. Like, they're basically crunchy little roots to them. And I think Pikmin I forget what type of root they're supposed to be. But, they're basically crunchy vegetables. And
you literally throw them at the monsters and sacrifice them. And, knowing that some of them are going to die for you to be able to get that monster. And then when you defeat them, you, like, carry the corpse of the Bulborb. Am I wrong? Like,
you are fully correct, Garrett. And, yes. So, I mean, this is a Pikmin tangent for sure, but yes, Pikmin is a very dark game with a extremely cheery atmosphere. In the first game, though, once you get to the second world, it starts to get darker and darker.
Oh, really?
I believe the second world is it's been a while. I believe it's the swamp place. So it's very kind of dark, and it has like a bit of a bayou sound to it.
Oh, okay. In the bayou.
Yeah, kind of like that. There's a little like. And the monsters are a lot more difficult there.
Interesting.
And it's a tough game. It's very tough on your first time. When you're a kid, it's very tough because it has a time limit, and you're not really used to that. Mm-hmm. In games, especially ones that end the game when you fail to complete it.
I was gonna say, I think the only other game before that one which had a time limit that I had played was Majora's Mask. Like, Zelda's Majora's Mask. Of course.
Speaking of which, that's the one I need to complete as an adult.
Yeah, was that in your backlog?
That is in my backlog, my cartridge backlog.
Your cartridge backlog?
Yes.
So, yeah, speaking of backlogs...
Yeah, so speaking of which, let's go to our New Year's resolutions, because this concerns that subject, so I'll let you go first, Garrett.
Okay, so I do have some New Year's resolutions that aren't gaming related, but the gaming ones that I have, it's basically to get through my backlog. Now, I have the classic syndrome, which anyone who's a gamer knows, especially if you have, like, Steam or something, sales happen. And you're like, well, these are all these games I know I want to play eventually, and they're all on sale, and this is the best time to get them, even though I know that they're going to go on sale, like, every other month. Like, I know I'm going to get a chance to get these again, but I see them now, and I want them now.
How many games do you have in your Steam library?
Well, luckily not Steam. Like, I don't use Steam that much.
Okay.
But my PlayStation...
I use Steam a lot.
Like, I know you have a massive backlog.
I have like 200-something games in my Steam library.
And you probably played like 10 of them.
I think I've finished maybe 20%, and I'm being kind.
But, like, are all those games worth playing, or were they just like, it's $2, I'll get it. It's $5, I'll get it.
I think they lend towards that, yeah. They're not all worth playing, but go on.
Yeah, so I created a PlayStation backlog, and these are the games that I want to get through before I buy any new games.
And he actually created like a bullet list. Like he can click on the name of the game to fill it in and consider it finished.
And this is how I'm going to get through this. Is that satisfying of like the check mark? Yes. I basically just use notes on the Apple phone.
And it looks very good. Like he created a legitimate list. So congrats.
Okay, so I have two sections. I have primary and secondary. So primary are the ones where these are the big games that I need to get through before I start buying bigger ones. And then the secondary are ones that I just have because PlayStation kind of gave them to me, or I got them really cheap. And I don't need to play these games, but I would like to, basically. So I'll go through the primary list. I've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm already working on. I've literally been working on since
You're probably like at least in the 90% through it.
I think I'm at 80%.
Damn. Okay.
So I've got like 61 hours into it. I did spend a lot of time treasure hunting and like secret hunting in the beginning.
Question mark hunting
On the map, just checking out the list.
Yeah.
But after like 45 hours maybe, I was just like, I just need to focus on the main quest. And so I just started trucking along, ignoring most of that stuff. And I'm getting close now. So I was actually hoping to beat that before this episode, but I just got too tired. And I'm like, ugh. And then I opened up this other section. I'm like, no! I'm like, I love this game, but I want it to end.
A new world.
It was like literally a new section. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me right now. Okay, so Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Spider-Man Remastered, the one you got me. Mm-hmm. And then right after that, I'll do Spider-Man Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. And then Control.
Oh, yes.
Death Stranding. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, which I'm already like more than halfway done. Like, honestly, I could knock that out in a night if I needed to.
Isn't that like 50 worlds though to go?
So if you look at like the time played,
because I remember you showing that entire list of levels, and that was intense.
It looks huge, but when you think of it in music track length, each song's only like 2 or 3 minutes.
Assuming you finish them on the first try.
Which
you usually
which
do.
I will. So like,
okay,
it may not be as quick for everyone else, but I was looking at them like 4 or 5 hours one night. I could knock this game out.
Okay.
Doom Eternal, I did buy that like a month ago.
So
it was on.
Have you played the previous?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
I played the 2018 one.
Cool, good.
It was really good. I actually played it right before Doom Eternal came out because I was planning on buying it.
Sweet.
But I kind of binged it way too hard, and I was like, I need a break. Like, my ears were ringing from all the heavy metal music. 'Cause I had like just got these new headphones, like the surround sound ones. And I like had them blasted the whole time I was playing that game.
Oh, Doom.
And so I played it for like 3 days straight and I finished it.
Oh, yes.
Uncharted, The Lost Legacy.
The Uncharted of the girls, yes.
Yeah, that's the one with the 2 side character girls.
Claudia Black.
Yeah. Well,
my childhood crush.
Really?
I was a big fan of Farscape, and she was a big part of that.
It's not actually Claudia Black. No, she's the voice actress.
She's the voice actress, and the character is modeled after her.
Yeah?
I tell no lies.
Okay.
I know my Claudia Black.
I forgot who she's called in the game, though.
I do not remember her name in the game because I'm not an Uncharted fan, but yes.
That one shouldn't be a long one. That should be like a weekend, like a 2-day off, binge through the story.
Sure.
Because it's just a story mode game. And then Red Dead Redemption 2. And that's the one I'm looking at like, is this going to happen? Because I'm playing through Valhalla right now. I'm like, Red Dead 2 is like Valhalla slow mode.
Red Dead 2 is Valhalla in better mode.
True.
So slow mode, correct.
Yes.
But better. I've watched you play Valhalla. I've watched you play it, but I played Red Dead Redemption 2. I played through the first game many times, so I'm a big fan of the series. Obviously, I love the first
I'm
extremely biased, but it's better.
And what's funny is
So don't say maybe, say yes. Please.
Okay, yes, I will. I've actually been comparing it because I did put about 10 hours into it when I first got the game. And then, of course, I trailed off. And then it's one of those games which is really hard to get back into.
Yeah. Can't deny that.
But Assassin's Creed Valhalla does a lot of things that Red Dead 2 does, I feel like. Especially with like traversal and horse riding and stuff like that.
Red Dead 2 is a standard setter. I mean, it has set the standard for this type of game. And
yeah.
Valhalla has taken...
There's a lot of side things. Like, I know in Red Dead, you'll just be going along the path and there's like...
Sir!
Help me, someone help me, the wolves!
Help!
And that happens in Valhalla too. I'm like, this is exactly what happens in Red Dead. Mm-hmm. So I know they're copying it, and I know Red Dead does it better, and it's just so much more fluid. Like, Valhalla does pretty good, but there's a lot of times where like your horse is pretty stupid. Like, it's it's nice that I can just turn on auto mode and it just runs on the road and it'll go to the quest marker.
Wait, what?
That's nice. Red Dead does that too.
It does do that too, but I don't know. I guess I never used it, so maybe I don't know.
It's really nice in Valhalla because sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to have to ride this horse. Just let it ride itself.
You just let it ride itself and then go make a grilled cheese or something?
And then, okay, so my secondary one.
Oh, the secondary list. Okay.
Yes. Resident Evil 7.
Ooh.
Detroit Become Human. Hollow Knight. Bugsnax, Days Gone. Honestly, out of all these ones, Hollow Knight and Resident Evil 7 are the two that I would like to get done. I did start Detroit Become Human, and it's very interesting, but I also know it's a game that like I can live without.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil 7, because the 8th game is going to be coming out sometime, either this year or next year.
Yeah, the game when everyone initially was like, Resident Evil 4 remake, what?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No, it's a whole... Resident Evil Village is what it's called, with the Roman numerals in the village making a 8, of course.
But it totally looks like Resident Evil 4, but we're ignoring that.
So I'd like to at least play 7, because I feel like they're going to be taking stuff from
7's
7.
comparatively a pretty short Resident Evil game.
That's what I've heard.
It's pretty short. I haven't played through the whole game. I've experienced it, but not played through the whole game. I just know that it's pretty damn short comparatively.
And the other thing I hear is that the first half of the game is really good, and then the second half is bad. It borderline ruins the whole story. So I don't know what that means. I think the first half they focused on a certain setting, and then in the second half it takes it somewhere that just kind of ruined the effect of the first half.
So, not having finished the game, but from what I've heard about it, is I've heard the game has a tendency to be a little Saw-like, in the sense where it kind of focuses more on the visual stuff and kind of the character drama than the atmosphere drama, which Resident Evil is known for atmosphere more so, at least in my Resident Evil experience. So I think Resident Evil 7 tends to do that, which Resident Evil 6, if you unfortunately played that, I did. I played Resident Evil 6.
I don't think I played through it.
I played through all the story modes of it, and it's basically like playing General Hospital, but with zombies. It's basically playing Days of Our Lives with zombies. It's pure melodrama with zombies.
Oh my god.
And then you have Ada Wong, who just zip, I'm Ada Wong, bye, zip, and she's gone. And it's like, okay, you're basically a non-character. So, excuse me on that little rant. But yeah, so Resident Evil 7 I've heard... I've played the beginning of the game a little bit. It's good, but yeah, I've heard that it tends to be a little more tending towards that.
We'll see. I'll have to let you know.
I'm going to be really curious to hear what you say about it, because I've avoided a lot of spoilers about it, so I've only heard very brief accounts of it, because I want to play it too.
Yeah, it's usually on sale pretty cheap. You might be able to find it on Steam.
Yeah.
And then Hollow Knight is one. I've literally gotten halfway through that game twice. I got halfway through it on Steam, and I got halfway through it on PlayStation. I'm just like, I just need to get through this game because I like it. It's one of those situations where I get far enough, and it's like a Metroidvania game, and you would discover the map as you go.
Metroidvania meets Souls.
Yeah. And in fact, you actually have to buy the supplies to be able to even fill in your map. Otherwise, you're just literally wandering.
Ooh.
And it's tough, man. It sucks when you get lost. Basically, I got lost, and I even looked online at a map, the full out map, so I could I'm so sick of getting lost. I just want to follow a map. And even then, I was still having trouble figuring out where I was going. So I'm like, so I finally just stopped playing, and then I just never went back. Damn. So I'd like to restart it because it's free on PS5. The whole PS5 collection thing that comes with if you have the membership. Same with Days Gone and Detroit Become Human and Resident Evil 7. The reason these are on here is because I technically own them. So yeah, those are all the games I want to get through. It's a lot, but I feel like if I focus, and what I'm doing is I uninstalled all the games on my console that I'm not currently playing.
Clever girl.
So I don't have any temptation to jump into a new game. So
that's a good idea.
All I have right now is Valhalla, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, because I want to get through that one next. And then Fortnite and Apex, because sometimes I might want to hop into that for whatever reason.
Okay, I'll choose not to hate you for the Fortnite.
So okay. Fortnite, I mean, it does enough to where it gets me interested. Every time
it has Fall Guys?
Rip and rip. It was a fun run.
Oh, Fall Guys.
Oh, actually,
it was fun. It was.
That's actually a little bit of news there, right there. Fall Guys announced 3 new skins, and they're Doom Eternal related. So you can be Doom Guy and 2 of the demons.
I've been seeing a lot of memes that have been relating to Fall Guys skins, and they all look. I mean, I don't know if they're real or not because I haven't played Fall Guys again since we played it. Yeah, when it was new and shiny.
Season 1. This is season 3 now.
But the skins look pretty fun. If they're actually doing those, they look pretty cool. There was one that was a what's the Pomeranian from Animal Crossing?
Oh, gosh dang it.
I wish Eric was here.
Annabelle? No. Everyone's like screaming through their microphones right now.
I haven't played Animal Crossing since it was new too, so give me a break. But there was a skin for her.
Isabelle.
Oh
my god.
There was an Isabelle skin. There was I think there's a SpongeBob skin. Again, these were just memes, so I'm not sure if they were real. But
okay.
It made me think like that would be really cool. I want to play Fall Guys again because these skins look fun. I'm not gonna buy them because who the hell buys skins for a game like that? But they look really cool.
That's the thing is I feel like they're, from what I remember, the skins that you could get were super limited. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if only they just released like a ton of them.
Yeah.
Like, why not just make a crap ton of them?
I think Fall Guys is trying to differentiate itself from like Fortnite and all the other companies that Riot that release skins, you know, saying, "Ooh, if you buy these, you can show everybody you have lots of money from mommy and daddy." Like,
yeah, that's true.
I think I'm just assuming that, but I feel like Fall Guys is trying not to follow that route, despite the fact that's where the money is.
It is where the money is, and you know what? I feel like a lot of people are still playing it. It's still, I think it had its heyday.
Honestly, I would like to get back into it. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, that was a very fun distraction while all of California was burning. That was a very fun distraction while our homes were on fire. That was good.
Yeah, it was free with PlayStation Plus. Yeah. And so I got it, and we just played it every day. Like, we
enjoyed it immensely. Like, while we were trying to, you know, steady our breathing so we didn't inhale enough smoke. Like, it was good. That was a good time. I actually enjoyed that.
It was good. I'm glad we played that, actually.
So cool. That's good about Fall Guys. Now,
so
anything else?
Those are my video game resolutions.
Okay.
So outside of video games,
you actually have real life resolutions too.
I do. Yes.
Ooh, neat.
We do have lives outside of video games. Actually,
neato.
Which is why we don't get through a ton of video games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, jobs exist, and we're like aging old men. At this point.
You don't want to hear my real life resolutions. They're just sad and pathetic. So go on, Garrett.
So I like the video game ones. Instead of like primary and secondary, I guess I could have called them that. I did hard goals and soft goals.
Soft.
So my hard goals are actually to read 20 books. I feel like it's very doable. It's like less than.
You still need to read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's like 3 books. I think 3 or 4 books.
Oh, is it a series?
They were released in different books, yeah. And the one I have is the collection of them together.
Oh.
So technically that's 4 books. I believe it's 4, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm down for that.
And it's a great series. It's much better than the movies, I'll tell you that.
I was going to say, I didn't really like the movies, so
yeah, it's much. I agree. I didn't like the movies that much either. Shoot me, but the books are great.
Okay, I will add that to my list because I don't own a bunch of books.
And it's easy to read. It's not like Tolkien where it's, you know, the grass is this and that, and, you know, they stepped upon the grass and made this sound. Like, it's very easy to read.
It's 20 pages of describing how lush the grass was, and
I love Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings. Everybody, I've read the books. I'm when people joke about that, they're right. They are right.
You telling me about that is what kept me away from actually reading through Lord of the Rings.
Oh no!
So I'm like, I don't want to read 20 pages and like fall asleep to. It's like how the trees swayed and the history of that forest.
Okay, yes, on the history, the tree swaying a little bit. It's not that bad. Read them, please. I want to talk to someone about the books. No one's read the books.
Okay. Are they better than the movies?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the movies are good. Actually, the movies are really good.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's hard to say that they're better than the movies because the movies left out a lot. Actually,
that's what I was gonna say. So the movies left out a lot. So there's even more greatness in the books.
People who've read the books will know that the one thing the movies left out was Bombadil. And yes, read.
Okay.
Read the books.
Okay.
They're very good, especially the first one.
Maybe
Fellowship's my favorite.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll add it to my list. I'll try to get through that.
But yeah, definitely read Hitchhiker's Guide. I'm sorry, Garrett, go on.
Okay, no, I like these tangents. Okay. The other two are the other two are 2 skills that I've been dipping in and out of for like the past like 10 years at this point.
Ooh.
And so it's something that I just want to focus on and just get it done.
This is good build-up. Yeah,
get it done. Okay, so I did it in hours because I feel like that's easier like a benchmark to get to.
Okay.
Like hours practiced.
Is this a hard one or is it a soft one?
This is the hard one.
Okay, this is hard.
Yeah. So you know it's serious.
Yes, this is serious. Super serial. Go on.
So 150 hours of guitar practice.
Oh, actual fat guitar.
Yeah,
It's
so-
been a while since I've seen you make a guitar video and sing.
I know. So
But no, those were
I never sung.
Yes, you did. Oh, look at me
Oh.
now. Oh, look at me now.
Oh, you're thinking of the high school days. Dude, I don't know what got into me. I'm just like, I'm going to start making...
You sang 2 Frank Sinatra ones, didn't you?
I did one Frank Sinatra song. I don't even know what the second one was.
Did you do Beyond the Sea?
I did Beyond the Sea.
You
that's
did
what it
Bobby
was.
Darin and Frank Sinatra. I remember those because I remember you did Oh Look at Me Now, and you did the Bobby Darin Beyond the Sea. Yeah.
Yeah, that was... Oh, my God.
What about 150 hours of singing practice?
I
You can become, the next Michael Bublé, the next crooner. You and those crooners on the radio.
Santa Buddy. Have you heard that song by him?
I do not listen to Michael Bublé. Do not insult me.
Instead
Do not insult me. I'm not a middle-aged woman.
of Santa Baby, he's like, Santa Buddy.
Santa Buddy?
Santa Buddy.
Oh, because he wants to make sure he sounds straight while he sings it.
Exactly. That's the joke.
So he straightifies the song.
He straightified the song, yeah.
Oh, stop. Can I just reiterate how much I hate Michael Bublé? I don't. If any listeners like Michael Bublé, bully for you, good for you. I can't stand him. I cannot stand the guy. He thinks he's the next Frank Sinatra. He has no right to say that. Because Frank Sinatra's not even as good as like Bing Crosby. How dare he? Anyway, go on, Garrett.
Okay, so 150 hours guitar practice.
Cool.
182 hours of Spanish practice.
Oh, yeah.
You know me. I've always been in and out of languages. I'm always like, I'm gonna learn Spanish. I'm gonna learn
about it.
Japanese. I'm gonna learn Chinese.
I'm gonna learn Cantonese.
And it's just
Remember
like,
that was the big one for a while.
yeah. Oh, it was Mandarin. Yeah.
Mandarin.
Yeah, Mandarin Chinese, which I still want to do, but like we live in California. If I plan to have a
Spanish.
career here,
Spanish
is gonna be huge.
Tell me about it, dude.
Yeah, it's in your line of work. Yeah.
Tell me about it. I am the stupid white guy at my job sites who's like, I'm like, okay, can you guys do this? And they're like, they're trying to talk to me. I'm like, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school and I didn't listen to any, but I'm sorry.
I know, and I hate that. And I'm just thinking, like, if my career takes me somewhere where there's a higher Spanish population, I don't want to be limited by my ability.
Yeah.
And like, lucky for us, they actually put the time in to learn English.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
I don't fault them at all. Like, if I should know how to learn Spanish. I learned it in high school.
Yeah.
And I at the time I hated it, so I didn't try to learn it. And now there's people that speak Spanish, and I don't know how to speak to them.
I took 4 years in high school also, and it's just like I was okay at it.
So
but,
that's a great resolution, dude. That's really good.
yeah. And I forgot how I broke this up. I did it as in, I think the Spanish one, the reason like the hours are the way they are, it was like X amount of time per week. So I think the Spanish one was like 30 minutes 3 times a week, and then the guitar one was like 2 hours a week or something like that, you know? So it was something like that.
You gonna get the Rosetta Stone or?
No, I'm just gonna do Duolingo, and I'm gonna have that owl like, hey, time to practice. It's 10
It's like the
p.m.
Microsoft paperclip.
It is. This
Time to practice.
He's like sending you emails. He's like, you practiced, right?
You practice, right? I can see through your window. I know what you're doing. What are you wearing right now? I can see.
You didn't go to sleep.
You look really good in those new underwear.
Oh, Duolingo owl.
Oh yeah.
So again, what sucks is like I'm already falling behind because like I kind of had a rough start to my new year.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Never drinking again. Just gonna say that. So
Yeah. If any of you see Garrett's Twitter, you'll know.
New Year's Day, I thought I was gonna die. So I might not. Maybe a New Year's resolution should be to never drink ever again, which I'm already exceeding at. So far.
Garrett exceeds that every single time, except when I'm not there. Then he decides to let himself go.
It's very special occasion.
I'll throw parties. I'll be like, hey Garrett, do you want to drink? Nah, I don't drink anymore. And then I hear on New Year's he just like lets wild. I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever.
I have to remind myself how much I hate it. So yeah, those are my 3 main goals. And then the softer goals. Actually, I forgot about one of these.
Ooh.
So one of them is to reach and maintain like my fitness goals,
Sweet.
which I
Very good.
honestly I fell off. Last year I was doing really, really good.
Yeah.
Then the wildfires happened. I couldn't work out for like 2 months because of air quality.
Yeah, if you guys don't live in California, the air was really bad. Like if you jogged in that air, you would just become a burnt log. Like you would be dead.
And honestly, like I went on a bike ride when the air was kind of crappy. And part of me wonders if that's like, I mean, I'm sure it's out of my system by now. But like there was like for that month, I was like having kind of trouble breathing. Like,
yeah, he went on a bike ride and came back and he looked like a corpus creature from Morrowind, like wheezing and full of like holes and gas bagging, like basically like even a Last of Us clicker.
The Last of Us. Second one is explore video editing.
Ooh,
now, I know
yes.
this is something you want to do too.
This is actually a mutual goal between Garrett and I,
Yes.
is to do video editing, because hey, that's the future.
That is the future, and on this podcast and our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So once we learn how to do that, more content, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the third one, which is kind of game related, and I mentioned this to you if I could speak, right before New Year, is to improve my chess skill.
Chess.
Yeah, so if any of you, hopefully you have watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Ben, I think I got you to watch it, right?
I watched it all in one night.
You binged it, man. It took me 2 nights.
I enjoyed it. I love period dramas.
Yes.
I love things set in the past. And then I watched this. I was like, this is gonna be stupid. And then it starts off and it says Paris, 1966. I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this. I was like, I'm gonna like this. I don't even care what's going on. It's in the 60s, so this has got to be good.
And how did you feel about? Do you think they did a good job with most of the period sets?
With most of the, yes, I feel like they did. I'd say like I give them a 95%. Like, yes, everything was good. I'm a complete like weird nerd geek, whatever you want to call it, about this stuff. So I gave them my seal of approval. There was only like select things I was like, come on, did you have really? Mm-hmm. Like, mostly the stoner boyfriend.
Well, they had to add that, you know.
It was the 60s. They have to be stoners. So, like, we have to add this completely inexplicably random boyfriend that's a stoner and a hippie and whatever. And then they play... Okay, I'm going to complain for a second here. So, I think when this happens, it's 1967 in the show.
Okay.
And they play Venus by Lightning Blue, or whatever that band is, which was released in 1969.
Okay.
So she was playing a song from the future. So she literally could have stolen that song and then released it and made millions. Like, I'm sorry, but like, there was no other stoner songs they could have played that were released in 1967. There was plenty, but they chose one from the future. It was a great song, mind you, very, very good. But
I feel like that happens in shows and movies all the time.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot, and I'm the only one who notices, so it doesn't matter because it's just me. But it did irk me, and it gave them a lower score. But otherwise, perfect.
So, Queen's Gambit, if you don't know, is all about Beth Harmon and her journey as a chess prodigy.
A female chess prodigy in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. And she's a fictitious character. She does not exist.
Yeah, this isn't actually real.
But the show is so convincing and so well done that you would fully believe that she existed in history.
I was going to say, there was a lot of times where I'm like, this sounds like a real... like biography.
Think of like a show like a movie like Big Fish or Forrest Gump. Like, these characters are very magnified, like very, you know, they're a little too important, but they're so well done, so well written, so real that you could buy them existing.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's not like Forrest Gump where she's involved in every little bit of history, but it's very well done. It's a great show. Honestly, it's exceptional.
And I learned a lot about it. Like, chess has been one of those things in my life where I've seen it and I've appreciated it, but
you've mostly only played it with me, right? When we were kids. Yeah.
I've only played it with you, and like when your Uncle Billy visited, he would always force us to play chess, and we'd get our asses kicked, and then he just like laughed at us, like, playing checkers, I see, not chess.
My uncle was very good at beating AI chess competitors. So
yeah, he does like 3D chess and stuff.
He was a Star Trek fan, so he was all into that like big chess stuff, and he taught me as a kid. And then when I met Garrett, Garrett got involved in it too. My Uncle Billy is unfortunately not doing very well right now, but he is the chess introduction for me and Garrett, and we both appreciate him very much for that.
Yeah, I just kept thinking back to that, and in the little things that he taught us, I was being retaught in this show, because like, it basically teaches you about chess. And so I went from knowing borderline nothing about chess to understanding so much more than I anticipated by the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And it was, I had learned enough to where I felt like I could go play chess and know what I was doing.
So that's a great point about the show, is that they managed to take what is otherwise a very, what is a classically boring game. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't play chess because it's boring. Mm-hmm. And that's, of course, in the eye of the beholder, but a lot of people would agree on that. But now that Queen's Gambit has come along, it has sparked a revitalization in chess.
Huge.
At least in the popular groups. And people, because they managed to take the game and dramatize it and make it exciting to watch in the context of the show. and it makes it look fun. And chess is a fun game. I'm saying this as someone who played it. I love chess. I really liked it. And having watched that show, I was like, this is making chess exciting. Like this is like watching a contact sport. This is exciting.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching this. I'm like, this is making me think of watching some kind of esports tournament. And I'm like, oh wait, those actually exist. Like people are streaming this on Twitch. People are doing this.
It's cool.
It's a real thing and it's cool. And I didn't realize how cool chess could be and just how freaking complex. I knew it was complex, but I didn't realize it was this complex.
It's very complex. Like casual players of chess would have no idea that each square on the board has its own name and designation.
Yeah.
As well as dozens of combinations you can use to play each piece on
all the different kind of openings and strategies and theories.
And they all matter. Like people will say like, oh, it doesn't matter what I do in the opening. Like your opening will affect your ending.
Yeah, your entire game. Yeah.
And it's in this excuse for the tangent, but Queen's Gambit handles it very well. It gives a very good introduction to people who would otherwise see chess as an old fogey game.
And since the I've been watching videos and like reading up on it too. Chess.com is, if anyone's interested, chess.com is like a very simple and great introductory into it. You can basically play online. It's free with just anyone across the world, and it just puts you up against people who are like skilled. So you start as like it's like 1500. There's like a whole elo system, like a ranking system, and you basically have to play matches before it can find where you belong. So you'll probably play people and get your ass kicked, and then it'll lower your rank down, and then you'll be playing people around your skill level.
It's basically an e-game.
Yeah.
Like you are playing a non-video game e-game, which it's cool. Like it when you play it, it's fun, and you understand the game, and you start to learn the complexities and the tactics. It's fun.
Yeah, and chess.com has tutorials. It has videos. They're all really good. That's how I've been learning. And it features streamers that are like maybe not sponsored. Well, it's basically sponsored by the website.
And mind you, we are not sponsored by chess.com.
We are not.
Garrett is talking about chess.com out of pure and utter love for them.
Yeah, they made it so easy to get involved in this. And then, of course, you just find it on Twitch. And there's a lot of great YouTube personalities that...
And now they're getting recognized. Thank God.
Yeah, and now they're getting recognized. And they're getting, like signed on to like esports teams and stuff like that to make content. I don't know. Chess is just way cooler than I thought it was. And I'm excited to keep learning it.
So let's give Queen's Gambit a round of applause. And if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. And then you can round of applause with us. It's very good.
Very good. Do some snaps. This is fancy time.
This is fancy time. Where's our string quartet?
So anyways, those are all my goals. I hope that I get through them. I think they're very doable.
I agree. I think that's very doable. Those are realistic goals, and those are fun goals too.
They're fun. I mean, like, hopefully if I stick by them by the end of the year, like judging by the hours spent, I should be able to play pretty decently on guitar, and I should be able to like have some basic conversational Spanish. So like,
cool.
If I can get that at the end of the year, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, dude. I hope so. And I hope you can pull me into the Spanish thing too, because I really need to get there.
I will try it. Honestly, Duolingo, free app. It's been around forever now, and Spanish is like the best, most thorough course that they have. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it would be fun to have someone else to do this with and practice with, actually.
It would be useful, actually. Yeah. And mind you, we're not sponsored by Duolingo either. We're just saying that out of pure love.
No, the owl is actually behind me with a knife, and he's telling me to speak every one of these words.
And he's telling Garrett how much he loves the way he looks at the window.
And yes, I will do my 30 minutes of practice tonight, Owl. Please don't kill me.
Please do not kill me, Owl.
So do you have any goals or like a backlog that you're trying to get through?
I did not make any lists. I'm not a list person. But yes, there is a backlog I would love to get through, and start of the new year is the best time to plan that.
Yes.
Currently, I really want to play through Days Gone, actually. That's one game I actually really want to try.
Yeah.
I have access to it. I just haven't done it.
Fun fact, sorry to break in.
Go ahead.
But the studio that makes is Bend Studios. And Bend, Oregon is where Ben and I became friends.
Bend, Oregon is the place that we met, yeah.
And so part of me wants to play this just like in honor of like, oh, that's my hometown. I mean, like I consider it my hometown.
And the game is considered very glitchy when it released, etc., etc. So it never got the praise and probably attention it deserved. But apparently it's very fun.
Yeah, and it's patched up really well now.
So I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and I really want to. Another game would be, of course, I need to finish Majora's Mask.
Oh, yeah. You started that a couple months ago, right?
Yeah. Well, more than that. So I was given the cartridge for it. I'd never owned it as a child, but I played it at a friend's house, and I was given the cartridge for it by my housemate Eric, and I never got through it. I played through. I'm probably about 60% through, maybe 70% through, and I stopped it one day, and I just didn't get back to it.
That's how it is. Like if you're not hooked on a game, one day off and it's game over.
I mean, I blame Eric a little bit because he was supposed to be playing through Morrowind while I was playing through it, and he was stopping too. So it's also his fault.
Let's just blame Eric.
I'm just gonna blame him, but realistically, I need to finish it, and I really want to finish it. So that's on my backlog.
Cool.
Another one would be probably to play actually Wolfenstein, the new Wolfenstein games.
Oh, I heard those are so good.
Those are good. I've played them sparingly. I own 2 of them, and I need to play them. I need to play them through and through. So Wolfenstein, the revitalization, yes, that's on my list to play through.
Cool.
Another one would be Mario 3D All Stars.
I want to play that too.
I bought it. I'm halfway through the 64 version. Again, I just set it down one day, didn't get through it.
So what 3 games are in that one again?
That is Mario 64. That is Mario Super Mario Sunshine, excuse me, and Mario Galaxy.
Yes.
So yes, those are 3 great titles. I'm a huge fan of 64, huge fan of Sunshine. I finished those games both on their original consoles. I want to play through them again. And Galaxy I've never even played, so I really want to get to it.
And I heard it's good.
It's supposed to be great, and I'm stoked to get through it. I just need to play it. That's on my backlog now. Okay. Another one would be, let's see. Actually, another one I bought for the Switch, which is Icewind Dale. So I played the original game on the PC. This is kind of another one like 3D All Stars. I played it. I didn't finish it on the Switch, and so that's on my backlog now too. Where I really want to play through that again. I want to finish it. It's a great RPG.
Isn't that a D&D kind of game?
That is a D&D kind of Baldur's Gate type RPG.
So it's a Baldur's Gate type. It's not a Baldur's Gate game.
I don't think so. It's very similar. It's very similar.
Icewind Dale.
But it does have D&D elements for sure. Like heavily. Baldur's Gate, speaking of which, the new one, that should be on my backlog, but it's not fully released yet, so I'm not going to consider that a backlog game yet. I'm going to fully play it when it releases.
That's fair.
And that's also the same with the new Subnautica. That will get fully played when it gets released, which I believe is going to be in the next month or 2, according to their website. But we'll take that as it goes.
Yeah, nowadays it's like, who knows?
And a second game though you mentioned was Control.
Oh yeah,
I watched you play it. It looks awesome. It looks really cool. It looks like a trip, if anything. And I want to play that. That one is one I really want to give a try. After that would be Detroit Become Human. It has that kind of Life is Strange type vibe to it, which I'm fully down for. Like what was that other game? Fallen Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Yeah, Heavy Rain, Until Dawn. I think they're all kind of like that.
So I'm fully good with Until Dawn. I played that. That's great. That's a great game. Heavy Rain, I played the intro to it and I never finished it. So technically that would be on the backlog, but I don't have access to it, so it's going to be probably Detroit Become Human.
Okay.
After that, Hollow Knight as well. That is a game that I've heard nothing but good things about and I've never touched. You would like that game so much. I know you would like that game. I fully agree, and I really want to give it a try. So that one's on the list, and that's a probably pretty heavy one on the list.
And the reason that I want to get through that game so badly is because the sequel's coming out soon.
Okay.
Like they've been hinting at it like 2 years ago, so I'm expecting a release date probably sometime this year.
Okay, sweet. That gives
me
even more.
It would be the best time to do it would be this year.
Okay.
And it's always on sale too. Like you can get on Steam pretty cheap.
I'm gonna have to pick that up then, yeah, because now that I know the sequel's coming out, that gives me more incentive, more than there already was, which already a lot.
That actually might be a good next spoiler cast that we can do or something, because we both still need to play it. So
actually, I like that idea.
Yeah,
Gary.
that would give us both the incentive to get it done.
Another game I need to finish. I've actually played a lot of it. I'm pretty much at the kind of the crest of the hill. I'm at the end of it almost, but I just never finished it. It's Stardew Valley.
Oh, does it actually have an ending?
I mean, there's kind of a basic story you can go through. Yeah, like as when you first start the game, there's stuff that kind of unfolds as the seasons go on. You can get married, etc. There's like the dungeon system. There's the desert that you can unlock later on. I never unlocked the desert, and that's what I want to do. So there's still more in the game I want to finish, for sure. Then I guess last one. would probably be Exanima, which is from Bare Metal, who does Sui Generis, which I talked about in a previous podcast.
Oh yeah.
It's an unfinished game, technically. It's a long unfinished game, but it is a very good game, and it has had significant updates since I last played through it. So there is more content. Basically, the last time I played it, the game technically ended, and I say that with air quotes, at this point when there was a monster in the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And they've since expanded past that, I think, quite significantly, including adding I believe a cave system. So there's a lot more to it that I still need to explore and enjoy. So I need to replay it again. I need to get to the ending that they've added.
Cool.
So I think that about covers my backlog for now.
That's a pretty solid backlog.
Like, as far as not having a list, like that's kind of what I can kind of pull out of my ass at the moment. So that, yeah.
What's good is like all the things you listed are pretty manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was listening to that list, and most of those aren't very long games.
Yeah.
Like Majora's Mask, one day you can knock it out.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight, it's not a long game. Like we could probably knock it out in a couple days if we binge it.
Totally.
There's just a few on my list where I'm like, unless I really go hardcore and just avoid everything else except playing games when I'm back from work, it's gonna take me some time.
You've got some story-heavy games, like especially
I
the
know.
Miles Morales and the Spider-Man. Like, those ones are going to be heavy.
It's okay. Actually, with those ones, what's good is they aren't the story themselves aren't super long, but it has a lot of extra content, and the games are so good that you want to do all that. That was one thing I remember about Spider-Man 2018 is the reason I was getting all the collectibles is because I was just having so much
Because you wanted to.
fun in the game, just swinging around. I'm like, I'm just gonna take a break from the missions and just go swing around New York City because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And it's an excuse to just like go have fun.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't having that with Valhalla. Like, I'm doing these things, and it's just like, traversal's not fun.
Technically, now that you mention Valhalla, I do need to finish Witcher 3. I do need to finish that. We've talked about this before.
I feel like that's a game where, like, if it's ever off my backlog, like the world's gonna end, it's like the perfect backlog game that no one ever finishes. You just have to get like part way through
The thing,
it and call it good.
I mean, as far as we'll talk about Cyberpunk later on the podcast, don't worry. But as far as CG Projekt Red's games have gone, like Witcher 3 is really good. I just never got into it. It didn't take me. I kind of played it and I was like, eh. Because I was a big fan of Witcher 1 and 2, but Witcher 3, it just didn't hit me that hard. So I need to finish. I do need to finish that game, but it's not really on my immediate backlog, I'm going to say.
Well, since this will be a good transition actually, because CD Projekt Red did say that they are going to make a next gen version of Witcher 3 for free.
They need, of course.
But
they need to get some good stuff.
I was gonna. Well, that was before the crash. This was before like the disappointment. But now I'm just thinking, there's probably spending so much time fixing Cyberpunk. Who knows when the hell we're gonna get this Witcher?
They probably
upgrade.
just took Witcher 3 behind the shed and shot it. Like
I know.
They had to get some meat to feed the
They're
devs.
like, well, never mind. So yeah, I specifically bought Witcher 3 on sale during like the winter sale because it was like dirt cheap.
Oh, on the console?
On the console.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, on the console.
Because it's gonna be a free upgrade.
You had it on the PC, I know.
I do, yeah. So which it ran fine on the PC. Like no complaints.
You just
there.
prefer consoles.
I just prefer consoles.
That's fine. You're just a console fanboy.
Yeah, I'm just.
You just prefer limited hardware.
You just love not being able to do what you want, don't you?
You just love having a cage around you when you play games, don't you?
And it really kills me because I keep seeing these people I know rebuilding their PCs. I'm like, God, I just want to do it. It looks so cool and it's so fun. And you have this
you built that PC and it was fun. I mean, you had the enjoyment. And that was only like what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
But it's time. It's time to do it again.
Dude, I just rebuilt my PC and it was sitting like that for like 7 years. So you can wait.
I need a cool, clear case and I need all the RGB and I need little action figures to put in there.
It's not even just the clear cases. Now it's all about like the handcrafted wood cases.
Ooh.
You have to get like the natural end grain wood cases that are and it has like a natural like flowing spring that cools the hardware.
Like the chakra.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Is that for real?
Maybe not the natural flowing spring, but people are the wood grain computer cases are in right now. Yes, just like the translucent cases are. They're very in.
I just get so excited when I see these people getting their new NVIDIA 3070s and 3080s.
Stop.
I'm just like, oh, I want like that
Yeah.
super, super good.
Before I do that, I'm gonna fix up my truck, which needs like just as much
Just as much love and
repair work that a 3080 would cost. So I've got to have priorities.
yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, I don't have money for this. It's just like a fun thing.
Yes.
And I'm perfectly happy with my PS5. God, where was I going with? Oh yeah, Witcher 3. So it is technically on my backlog, but only once they upgrade it to the PS5 version for free, which I'm still waiting for the CyberPunk version to even be playable on PS5.
Yeah.
So I know you've spent a little bit more time in it, right?
Yeah. So we'll go into it then. Okay.
Yeah, just go right into it.
So yeah, I've been playing Cyberpunk. Yeah, I've been playing it. I have it on the PC, just for anyone who didn't hear the previous episodes. And yeah, I've been enjoying it. I have been enjoying it, and I'm actually enjoying it more as I play more through the story.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with the game is that as the story gets better, the gameplay itself doesn't really get better. It just kind of, the gameplay is the game's worst enemy.
Yeah.
The combat is still not very exciting. It's the AI is, I mean, you would have better AI with mannequins. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, it's, the AI is just non-existent. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a civilian or if it's an enemy. Like, they're very stupid. They are very dumb. Like this is like Disney was jealous over this because they couldn't even make the lemmings as stupid in their movies by having them run off a cliff. Like, they're jealous of how dumb the AI is in Cyberpunk. Like, this is, it's not fun.
So give me some examples of some stupid AI situations. I'm very curious.
Okay, so the first and foremost that just always disappoints me is the civilians. So if you do have any combat near a civilian, they will crouch on the ground. Like, they do like the full, like, California you learn in school, when there's an earthquake, you crouch on the ground and you don't move. Like, you don't move. You crouch down and you just like God help you. Like, because you don't move. So that's what they do. Like, if there's a gunshot, they all just fall to their knees and they cover their heads with their arms and they remain in place until the end of time.
They never get back.
At least in my experience, I've never seen them rise back to their feet and walk. They will remain crouched even after the last bullet has been shot, even after the last enemy has dropped dead. They will remain crouched on their legs until the end of time. Like, their joints will just continue to, like, will just lock in place, and they will petrify and they will fossilize, and they will be like new age just fossils of crouch. And people are like, why were they crouching? It's because they were too stupid to stand back up. They just died in place.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. So what else?
Well, then the enemies, like the enemies are just stupid. Like, their AI is stupid.
Really?
There's no tactic. Like, you have anything from trained soldiers to stupid gangbangers. You get in combat with them. They choose a obstacle to hide behind to shoot at you from, and they will remain there. They don't really move around. I mean, they might jump from one to the other, maybe. Mm-hmm. Chances are they won't. And then, so you're like, okay, I'm tired of them camping behind this object, so I'm just going to go over and shoot them. You run over, you run behind them, and you prepare to open fire, and they will kind of just crouch there for a second. You ran right past them, so they're aware that you ran past them, but they will remain crouched for like at least a good 2 or 3 seconds before slowly rotating to acknowledge you and then fire at you. So you get like a pretty good head start on shooting them.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, the enemies, the AI is just stupid. It's very dumb. It does not get better. There was a point in the game where this kind of big enemy drops down in a room after you've killed the smaller enemies. And I guess he's like a boss enemy. Like, this is kind of like a Sonic Battle Adventure 2 first boss, at the speed of sound enemy. Except that enemy had better AI. Yeah. So, and that's just a step-by-step fight. Like, that's a fight where you're like, oh, he's firing the missiles now I go back here. Oh, he's firing the lasers now I go back here. In this fight, he's just, you hide behind an obstacle, he fires missiles at you, you step out of the obstacle, you shoot him, then you just circle around him, basically just strafe around him, firing at him, and then he just drops.
That sounds exciting.
I was just, okay, I guess that's that. I guess we're done.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, the AI, I really don't want to just shit on this game, but the gameplay just doesn't get better. The story gets good. It gets interesting. Like, I shit the hell out of Jackie in my previous talks about this game. I hated Jackie. I actually kind of liked him. I grew to like him.
Okay.
And yeah, so that changed. That actually changed a little bit. But the gameplay has not. The next thing I can really talk about is the hacking. Like I said the hacking was bad. I still say the hacking's bad. It's not useful at all, like remotely. I've tried. There was a mission that literally, before you go on the mission, this is a very story important mission, so I'm going to be very vague about my details about the mission. You start the mission, one of the characters says, let's do this without any bodies. Let's not kill anyone in this mission. So I was like, okay, I usually like to kill people, but sure, I'll try. So you finally get to the point in the mission where there's basically enemies you can kill. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get past these enemies. I'm gonna try to passively move past them so I don't have to kill them. Yeah.
Didn't work out.
So basically, hacking is the way you would do that. Because you hold down your little hacking menu so you can highlight the enemies and say, oh, you can do this, you can do that.
So you're hacking the enemies themselves.
Yeah. Basically, you highlight the enemies and you have 3 options. This is like the classic 3 options for an enemy, which is it's like you put some kind of spike in them that reduces the amount of RAM you have to use for each hacking ability.
Okay.
So usually you start off with that. So I start off by doing that to the enemy. And then you have an option of overloading them, which damages them, and resetting them, which blinds them. I say with a question mark at the end because it blinds them, but for like 3 seconds. So that's not useful whatsoever.
Yeah, what can you get done in 3 seconds?
So, okay, there's 2 guards I had to get past. And I was like, I'm going to get past them without killing them. These are my first 2 enemies. I don't want to make any bodies, despite the fact the story had changed a little bit, so I felt like I kind of had to, but I didn't. So I tried. I tried hacking the enemy, I tried blinding him, he was standing in front of a doorway, so I had to do something to get past him, because otherwise he would start screeching if he saw me. There was another enemy before him that I could distract with a screen. I could hack the screen to like flash, and so the enemy would get distracted by it for like, for a pretty good amount of time, like 10 seconds. So that was a good time. But the other guy, he just remained in place, and there was nothing around him I could hack, so I had to reset him, which blinded him for a whopping 3 seconds. So I blinded him, and then I had to hack the other guy so he was distracted by the screen. And then by the time any of that was done, I would be running in front of the enemy, and he'd suddenly regain his eyesight again and start screaming. And so so basically I reloaded 10 times trying to do this successfully with differing options. I even tried to put the enemies down with, it just didn't work.
God, that's so frustrating.
It just didn't work. So maybe that was just the story, because the story kind of led you into a spot where you kind of just had to gung-ho it. But hacking is just useless. The hacking's not fun. You have one tutorial at the beginning of the game that tries to describe hacking to you, and that's it. And then you never get any helpful prompts ever again. So if you don't remember, you're kind of screwed, because, okay, what does this do? What does that do? I don't know.
Something I've been recognizing in a lot of games I've been playing, Valhalla has this actually. There's just like like an archive.
Yeah.
And you can go in there and it has every tutorial that it's taught you throughout the game.
And that's a pretty classic thing for games to have.
Yeah, it's very handy, because it's like, especially games like that, there is so much going on. You're going to forget something.
Maybe Cyberpunk has that and I just haven't looked, but hacking just has not been fun. So there's these little terminals you can hack in the game, which are basically resource terminals. I didn't know they were, because the game never mentions or describes them. So when I encountered one, I was like, oh, I can hack this. So I tried to hack it, and then I failed, and then I was like, oh, it's over.
That was your one shot.
It's over. So I fortunately had to reload, so I reloaded a little before that, and then I made sure to save before this terminal, so I could, because I didn't know what the hell it was. And then finally I managed to hack it successfully. And I got like a few resources. I was like, oh, cool. It's like a chest, I guess. So when you open the hacking menu, you have 3 levels of this terminal you can hack. Like, you can do like level 1, level 2, level 3. Presumably, each level has more reward.
Okay. And
it is possible to successfully fulfill each one, all of them at the same time, and get like a bunch of reward, which I have done. But when I first did it, they have like symbols corresponding to what you have to fulfill in order to unlock them, and then you have to do that on the hacking quote unquote game board, and as you're clicking the symbols, they change a little bit, so it kind of messes up with your tactic. But you're kind of trying to plan ahead as you're hacking to successfully get everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of up to luck in my, like, from what I'm noticing is like you kind of just, you either get lucky and you get all of them, or you get lucky and you only get one, and you get unlucky and you get one.
I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video about this because the way you've been describing it has been very curious to me. And just like I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to accomplish.
There's been a lot of games with different ways of hacking. BioShock had its own kind of weird little, direct the flow with these pipes.
With the tubes, pipes.
And I mean, it was it was simplistic. And
I kind of like those
and
ones.
Repetitive, but it was actually fun and it was challenging and it worked and it made sense.
Yeah, and you feel kind of good about those ones. A lot of games actually use that pipe.
And I mean, Morrowind, you literally just stabbed the object to death until it eventually unlocked. Oblivion, you had the tumbler minigame, which was actually kind of hella hard, but once you kind of figured out the finesse of it, it was super easy.
I actually like the Oblivion lockpicking.
And then Skyrim and Fallout kind of went the direction with you twist the lockpick in a direction like a clock until you hit the sweet spot and then you can unlock it. All of these have a clear mechanic that makes sense.
You know what one I liked was the Fallouts with like the password guessing game.
Or I'm sorry, I think lockpicking. Yeah, Fallout actually had hacking. Yes, and you would guess the terms compared to how similar it was. It would tell you if you get the wrong one. It'd say two of the letters in that guess were correct.
It was like that one board game where you have to you're guessing the colors, the 4 colors of the pins that they have. It's called Mastermind.
Okay. Yeah.
And you have like 10 attempts to guess what colors they have planted, and you just put little pins like saying you have the right colors, but they're not in the right spot, or you have the right color in the right spot, but you don't know which one. It was kind of like that. It was like Mastermind.
Fallout's was very good.
I thought it was a great idea.
Obviously derivative of Mastermind, and it was a very, when you first play the game, it makes no sense, but once you learn it, it's an actual fact game. Mm-hmm. Like the hacking is an actual game, and it's actually fun. Like playing Fallout 3, playing Fallout New Vegas, playing Fallout 4, I usually did each and every one. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I leveled up my hacking specifically so I could do more of them. Yeah,
it was a mechanic that made sense, and there were little tricks inside. You could find like little brackets or something, and that would give you extra tries or remove fake words.
Oh yeah.
It worked, and it was very clever, and it made sense in the setting of the game. Mm-hmm. It was fun. I've got to say, Cyberpunk is. I mean, again, I haven't played it for as long as I played Fallout, so. Again, more exposure, but I don't like the hacking, and honestly, the enemy hacking just seems useless. Like I haven't had a chance to explode a grenade in an enemy's pocket yet, which probably is the most useful thing you can do.
I was gonna say that sounds fun
by the looks of it, but I never do it. It's just easier to shoot the enemies. Like why would you hack?
So that's something I was thinking about.
You don't even get stealth damage.
Oh yeah.
There's no stealth damage from what I've noticed. There's no stealth damage, so I don't get the damn point of sneaking in Cyberpunk. It's just not a good mechanic.
I was gonna, some games, the extra stuff you can do feels so extra that it's not worth it usually. Like the whole sneaking thing, like I kind of have that with Valhalla. Mm. It's Assassin's Creed. You're supposed to be assassinating, and of course they have that option.
It's not Assassin's Creed since like Assassin's Creed 1 though. So.
Yeah, but you're literally a Viking.
Yeah,
like the whole purpose of you is running in as loud as you can and making havoc and like swing your giant axe. So it's like
that's as classic and cartoonish as possible.
I'm like
Dave the Barbarian.
I'd like rather do that. I'd rather just blow my horn, have my whole crew run into this monastery and just start slaughtering everybody.
Start killing the unarmed monks.
Okay, well they get to live. It's just like all the
guards.
All the guards, of course. Yeah. They're all like, I hate these. I know that you can only do so much with enemy designs. But it's like, okay, you've got the normal guys, and then you got like the Goliaths, which are like the big giants, and they have the big.
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like some Nathan Drake right there, some Uncharted with like you have normal enemies, and then you have these like Andre the Giant mutants.
It's like, where do they get all these guys?
Come lumbering in. They're like 7 feet tall. They all have bald heads, and they're all dressed like either Hitman suits or something else, or they're dressed like a French guy with a striped shirt, like fisticuffs, and then Nathan Drake he's like, well, I've got to play fair. So he drops his gun and he's like, I've got to fist fight them because I'm a man and my name's Nathan Drake. And it's just like, question mark, why? You have these weird mutants that this army has plenty of, and you have to fight them by hand instead of, I don't know, putting a bullet in their thick skulls.
Uncharted is a lot funnier with it, but with this one, it's just like, where are they getting all these giants? Like, I get that there's like the select few guys, but they're just like carbon copies of each other, and they're always doing the same thing. It's like stronger enemies equal bigger physical specimens.
Yeah,
and it's just
what was that emperor? I think it was either the king of Denmark or king of Sweden who loved his tall men, and so he only had an army of tall men.
Oh, really?
I think it was Frederick the First or Second. I don't remember exactly the name, but he specifically had tall men, and he would kidnap them from other countries and bring them there, and then he would breed them with tall women, so they would have tall children. Because he liked tall men, and apparently his son took after him and also liked tall men.
Oh my gosh!
So that's kind of what it makes me think of, is like maybe I don't know what time period Valhalla takes place in, but I guess it would be that time period. I think they had guns.
What is it, like 688 or something like that? 700, 600?
Yeah, this was like taking place in like the 1500s.
Yeah,
I think maybe it was the 17th century. I think it was the 1600s. Yeah.
Anyways, that's a really interesting. I kind of want to look into that.
You would find it interesting.
It's very interesting. Anyways, apart from that, God, where were we? Oh yeah.
So
enemies,
and yeah. But I'll get back to. I'll just jump back to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, just Cyberpunk. I don't know.
So that's. I'm not a big fan of the hacking. I'll keep going with it. It's not like it's gonna stop me from playing the game, but I find it to be a very weak mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's not fun. It's kind of just a waste of time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes into the case of the combat still. Like I've tried fighting like a melee combat now. I still prefer guns. I actually find the shotguns to be the most fun because you shoot the enemies and sometimes they fall over and it's just kind of fun just to like knock them over and then blast them on the ground.
Shotguns are always fun, aren't they? Yeah.
I will say the shotguns tend to be the most like gratifying to use, but when it comes down to it, like the enemies, they're not. It's not satisfying combat system.
Okay.
Like, you fire at the enemies, headshot, then usually dead. Like you do 10 headshots and they're dead.
Of course.
Because they're just bullet spongy, and I get it. You know, cybernetics. They have enhanced skulls, whatever you want to call it. There is one scene which was actually interesting, and it did actually corroborate the enhanced skull theory, which you have a flashback scene that goes like back in time. I'm gonna be again very vague about this, and all the enemies you fight die in one headshot.
Oh.
And I will tell you right now that was the most fun I've had in combat, was that flashback, because it was just so fun to run through and blow the enemies in the head. Because it felt
just died. Yeah,
it felt easy because you were just blowing their brains out, their heads would explode, but it was extremely satisfying. Because
it's like
headshots are satisfying because you hit the enemy, you go through like the trouble of skill shotting them in the head.
That's the thing, is it's skill based,
and then they die in one hit, and you're like, yeah. And it's like Fallout was one of the first games, and I was like, this is amazing because you shot them in the head and their heads popped
with the VAT system.
Yeah, and I mean that wasn't the first game to do popping heads, but that was very satisfying. So that was probably the most fun I've had, like just using a pistol. I really enjoyed it. But the rest of the game, you fire at the enemies, they just take the shot, and then they eventually die. And again, the AI is not very smart, so they might crouch and stand up again a few times, but that's really about it. The combat's just it's not the worst thing I've ever played, but it's honestly, again, Cyberpunk had a lot of lead up to it. I was not a part of the hype train for Cyberpunk. I actually never watched any of the trailers or release videos.
Same.
I kept away from it, but I still expected more.
I am so glad I didn't get involved into it, because I would have been so much more disappointed. Yeah. Like, I bought the game, I have a physical copy.
Yeah.
It's sitting on my shelf until this summer.
Yeah.
Or whenever they decide
whenever they release it, and that's the right thing to do.
And what I'm excited about is, my big thing was, I'm missing out on the hype. I bought this game day one because I wanted to be part of like monumental hype.
A lot of people did.
And so I'm thinking, so many people put this aside to wait till the next gen version.
The hype might happen again.
It's going to happen again. It's going to be like a No Man's Sky 2.0. except way bigger.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
So I'm hoping that I get to just ride this train of like, look at how great this game became.
I honestly, I hope that happens. I do hope that happens.
And knowing them, honestly, they're going to pull it off. I mean, look at Witcher 3. I mean, they made a Netflix series on it. It was so successful. So
and it had a rough start, but
yeah,
I think Cyberpunk has surpassed that rough start.
Big time.
So
I don't know, did we talk about this on the last episode where they literally took it off the PlayStation Sony took it off the PlayStation store.
We did mention that, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's been rough. And for a reason. But so yeah, the combat again, if you like it, good, but if you're kind of not really into the combat, it doesn't really get better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the story does get better. I've been enjoying the story more and more. I'm enjoying the characters. The characters are all well written. They make sense. I hated Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's okay. Like he doesn't bother me as much. That was just like my initial reaction was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a huge stereotype. But you know, he levels out.
So ultimately, it sounds like a great game trapped in a.
It's a great plot, a great characters, but they're trapped in this kind of badly made Mod Podge world. It just
like PS2 era AI.
I mean, you almost want to bring it back there because and in the details in the game, because we're all used to very detailed games now. Like if you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, then you've enjoyed a game that has had some solid detail. Even if you played GTA 5, GTA 5 had the update where they added a whole bunch more finer detail to the game. And a lot of people have been comparing it to Cyberpunk because it's a comparable game. Yes, it is comparable. It's a different game, but the general setting, the general mechanics do compare. And Cyberpunk just doesn't have those details. Like one of the ones you'll see on memes a lot lately is the water effects. So you'll see people shooting at the water, and they shoot at the water in GTA, and there's a splash because you're shooting bullets into water, high impact.
Yep.
You shoot into Cyberpunk, nothing.
Oh, come on, man.
There is no reaction. The water is just impassable gelatin. God only knows. like maybe the bullets hit it and they get sent to another dimension.
It's modified water. It's the future water. It just like...
Who knows? And then there's been other videos that have shown the fact that when your character runs, you can see a shadow in front of you. It looks like your character is having a grand mal seizure.
Oh, no.
Like your character is literally... So remember when you were playing Valhalla and I was telling you how your chick was running like she had a massive stick shoved all the way up her ass.
Yeah.
That's what your character shadow looks like. You can't. So the game does not have third-person view. The game has third-person view in very select moments, and you can also look at your character in a mirror.
Okay.
But you cannot willfully go into third person in the game. And a lot of people have been postulating, either correct or not, I'm not going to say either way, that the reason they removed that ability from the game is because the character's animations probably look really weird and shitty.
Yeah. Based on the shadows.
Whether that's true or not, the shadows do lean towards that. Your character looks like they're literally seizing violently, or like they're a broken marionette doll, or I mean, God only knows. Like it looks weird, and I've experienced this in my own game too, where I looked at the shadows and I was like, yeah, my character running looks like It looks like Morrowind's shadows. So remember in Morrowind how when your character's shadow, like your character looked like one of those drawing dolls,
yes.
like with like tiptoeing and like because Morrowind was made in 2003. Like
yes.
It was an old game. It was very of its time, but it was very the Cyberpunk's character kind of looks like that, where your character's running unnaturally.
Oh my god. How did this? Oh, it just
I
blows my mind.
I can go on. I mean, there's a lot more. I have a lot more to say and a lot more things, but I do want to say some good things. So again, the game, the story is good. It's really interesting. There's like the prologue, and then there's another prologue. So once you get past the first prologue, where you kind of like get into the first open world part of the game, that kind of lends itself towards another one, which you're not really expecting, and I like that.
Cool.
I like that a lot. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and it felt a little forced. Like, there's some points in the game where I feel like I have to kind of be a victim, and I don't really like that, but it plays well in the story.
Mm-hmm.
story wise, it plays well, and the story is interesting. The characters are interesting. The voice acting's all really good. The animations of the characters look good. Like, your characters' faces look really good. I mean, I know I insulted Jackie a little bit before, and I insulted some other things, but it does look good. You know, there's the character Parker. She looks really, really good. There was Lizzie, I think her name was, and she looked very good. I didn't have any of the problems. Like, that was one of the characters you see in the images where, like, she looks horrible. She doesn't look like the shot.
Oh, okay.
She looked great in my game. I have a 980 graphics card. It's very old, but
yeah,
my game looks very good. And I don't have any problems with performance issues, so I can't say anything bad about that. The game looks good.
That's good, then.
And, yeah, every other character the same way. There's another character named Misty, not from Pokemon, but she has a lot of hair, and her hair looks really good. Like, she, again, another great-looking character.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting character. You don't really interact with her that much, but she's interesting. The story is very good. The game's worst enemy is the gameplay.
Well, the good news is that they can patch that. It is very fixable.
I really hope they do. I really hope they give the AI, the civilians, the police, especially, like, oh god, I don't.
Oh, give me a police example. I gotta know.
Okay. So there's a point when I like exited my character's apartment. So you exit the apartment and you're in an apartment building, obviously. And so I go into the hallway, and there's these two people having some kind of argument. I hear it, so of course I'm like, ooh, whoa, cool, something's happening. So I go up to it. It's a guy and a girl, and the guy's like, you know, you stupid bleep, you know, you're gonna get bleeped. I'm not gonna curse because I'm gonna try to be family friendly. And he slaps her, and so she falls to the ground like a damn rag doll, just like collapses to the ground like a sack of potatoes, like old laundry. And so then you have the option to go, because the guy's back is facing you, you can approach him from behind and grab him.
Mm-hmm.
And your options are put him to sleep or break his neck. So the first time I was like, well, I don't know who he is or why he's doing this, so I'm just going to put him to sleep. I don't need to break the dude's neck. So I didn't. And so he crumples to the ground, you know, peacefully at rest. And she's still laying on the ground too. She's not dead. She's still alive. She's not knocked out. She just remained laying on the ground. I guess she was in repose. I don't know. But I kind of waited there for a bit going, is that it? Am I done? Like, did I come too late? Is she crippled? Like, what? And then suddenly her lips moved. As she laid on the ground, staring blankly at the wall, her lips started moving, and she said, "This place is really crappy, thanks." And I was kind of like, oh, you're welcome. And she remained laying there.
Oh my god.
Unmoving. I fully conscious, presumably, but unmoving. So then I was like, okay, well, I don't want to leave this guy here. He's gonna wake up and I guess finish her off. So I picked him up, because you can pick up bodies like a la Hitman.
Okay.
So I picked him up and I was like, I'm gonna put him somewhere. So I was straddling him on my back, and I was waddling to like a place where I could stash him. And then some other people passed me in the hallway and they started screaming. So they see me holding him, and mind you, this guy was the aggressor. I didn't just attack him randomly. And they see him and they start screaming, because I guess they just assumed that he was a victim, and that I don't. They just assumed the worst, I guess. And then the police appear and they start shooting at me. So I'm just like, okay, okay. So he dies because he gets shot in the crossfire, and then I die because I don't know what the hell to do. I can't talk to the police. I can't tell them like, oh hey, like there's no reasoning with these like these like horrible golems that are the police that just do nothing but shoot at you.
Oh my god.
So I reloaded, and I try to do this. I decided to do this a second time. Exit the apartment, hallway. There they are. I hear him. I hear nothing actually. I just see them. I see them in the hallway, and they're both staring at each other.
Nothing happens.
He says nothing. She says nothing. But I walk up to them because I'm like, oh, maybe I need to like trip the activation to make it happen. And I approach him, nothing happens, and I go behind him and I can still grab him. So I grabbed him. I grabbed him this time, and I broke his neck. And so I was like, I'll just kill him this time. And then she stands there, like she just stands there with this look of abject horror on her face, but nothing else. Like she doesn't say anything this time. She just like looks horrified and doesn't move. God. And then I decided to pick up his body again, and then yeah, after like 5 feet of walking, I get the police again, and they start shooting at me again. So I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know what the hell to do with this. So I just reloaded again, and I killed him and I left him there.
You just went on
And
with
so
your
and
day.
then I walked out the hallway. I went the other direction, and there were two police officers standing, like two Night City police standing there, and they had a guy that was similarly dressed to this guy in cuffs on the floor, and they were standing next to him. So I was like, oh, cool, maybe this is related to it. Like maybe this, like he's like a gang member or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked up because I was like, well, maybe I can interact. And as soon as I got close, the police were like, get away, get away. And then they started shooting at me. And so I was just like, what? Am I not allowed to approach? I mean, Jesus Christ. So they started shooting at me. And so then I had to reload again. So so this time around, I left her to her fate. And I just ignored the police. And I went downstairs because
there's no scenario out of this situation where you like something actually happens that it doesn't result in you getting shot by the police.
Was this a random encounter? I mean, like, was there a glitch in the system? Because I wanted to know what this was about, but there was no resolution. Like, you know, in Red Dead 2, when you encounter someone on the road and something's happening, like, there's a kind of a resolution. You know, they either turn out to be an ambush or you help them, and you know it's resolved.
Mm-hmm.
When I helped her, she was just laying on the ground and said, "This place is crappy, thanks." And it's like,
thanks, I'm gonna lay here for a while.
And it's just like, is that it? Like, I'm not even gonna find out why he was hitting you. Like, okay, and so
you're just a good Samaritan.
And then the police. Then. So the thing with the police is you'll see them around town a lot. Two of them, and usually one person on the ground in cuffs. And they just stand there and stare at the person on the ground in the cuffs, and nothing happens. And if you approach, they will just literally open fire on you, like without warning. Like sometimes they'll warn you. Sometimes they'll say like, "Oh, you know, back off." But sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll just get close and they'll just start shooting at you. And and if you watch, nothing happens. Like you'll see, that's one of the most common ones you'll see is someone's handcuffed to the ground, them standing over them, and nothing happens. So it's like,
why is this even here?
What world detail is this adding? Because nothing's happening. It looks weird, and then it's just they're just aggro. So it's like, what the hell? And
God.
That's what the police are like. Like there was another time when I was driving maybe a little wantonly through the streets, and there was a group of people. So I thought, you know, why not? And I introduced them to my bumper at a high speed. They, you know. Usually the civilians will actually survive an impact of your car. Like you will hit them and they will hit your windshield, roll over the back of your car, land on the ground, or sometimes they'll just catapult over it and land on the ground hard, and then they'll get up and walk away. And nothing will happen. You're like, okay, good. But sometimes, you know, this time when I went through this little group of people, like this, they were having like a Southern revival or something. I went through. Two of them didn't make it. They died. The others just got up and walked away. I guess they forgot about their family. I don't know.
They don't even react. They just stand up and walk away.
Sometimes they'll run, but like in this case, they stood up after being hit and they walked away, like stepping over the people that didn't stand up, the people that were, you know, put to rest by my car. And so that happened. And so, you know, of course, after I killed them, the police just apparated, like, you know, this is like a la Harry Potter, like just like wham, and the police are there, and they start shooting at me, but they're on foot. So I was like, okay, I'll just drive away. So I drove like a block away, and I sat there, and then I kind of noticed they were like running after me. So I just drove 2 more blocks, and then the stars just disappeared. The police just gave up. I drove 2 blocks. They gave up.
They didn't even get in a car or anything to chase you.
Do they know how to drive? I guess not, because I've never been chased in a vehicle ever. So
this game is like blowing my mind.
There is a lot of these types of games, like Crackdown, Saints Row, of course GTA, like all have very realistic police interactions.
Need for Speed and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, if you do something wrong, the police will pursue you, and the more wrong you do, the more they pursue you. Which is, you know, if you watch like anything in real life, that's what the police do. The bigger the danger, the more police presence.
Yeah, you start getting helicopters and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, not in this game.
Man, not even helicopters.
I think the highest I've got was 3 or 4. I think it was 4 stars actually. I think that was when I basically roller coastered through a sidewalk, and and so I got quite a thing, and I ran over some officers too. So I think that really made them mad. But you know, about 4 blocks away.
They just gave up, huh?
The stars just vanished.
That's sad. I remember in GTA, it was almost impossible to get them away. You go like on the other side of the map, and they were still pursuing
Which
you.
is realistic. I mean,
Yeah,
as
it is.
annoying as it was, and it was annoying,
Yeah.
but it was realistic. And you wouldn't get punished for the simplest things. Like in this game, if you kill someone, they are on your ass.
Even like a gang member?
So sometimes when you encounter gang members, there's normal people mixed in, and more than once have I blown their brains out as long as the gang members.
really?
And I didn't find out until suddenly the police were like, "You have a warrant on your head," and I'm like, "What? Okay."
You killed a wanted criminal, and that was our job, not yours.
You know, if that's part of the game, that would actually be kind of cool, because then I'd say like, well, the police have a personality, they're jealous. So they will appear really quickly on your ass.
Okay.
But if you're in a vehicle, they literally have no chance of catching you, and they will give up on you immediately. And they will, like, after you're out of sight, they're like, well, he's gone forever. And so then they go to the Hall of Records, find your warrant, and find the bounty on your head, and they take it and they burn it and then go back. Like, because
no hope. He knows how to drive. We can't get him, boys.
dude, I don't know. Again, it's another thing in this game where you're just kind of like, why doesn't this feel good? Mm-hmm. It does. It just feels stupid and silly and dumb. Like the AI is just dumb, and there's all these little details in the city that I feel like could be something, but they just aren't. Like again, like the police with a handcuffed person. Like, what is it? Like, what are they doing?
Even I'm curious. I'm not even playing the game, and I want to know.
And sometimes you'll have, good random interactions. Like sometimes you'll encounter a person and they'll have like a little conversation with another person, and it's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But those are far and few between, and again, they don't really lead anywhere. So those are kind of cool because they're just little snippets of convo, but the actual physical stuff that you see just doesn't really have anything to it. Mm-hmm. Like in the most you encounter randomly in the world is usually like these like clumps of gang members, and again, there's usually a hostage or like a civilian mixed in with them, so you have to be careful not to just blow them up. But that's it. Like you blow them up, and then that's it. That you're done. Like the encounter's over. Mm-hmm. And there's not really any rhyme or reason behind the encounter besides the fact that they apparently just decide to congregate there, like a bunch of ants around some spilled food. So, and sometimes when you're driving, you get these like notifications, like something is happening here. I forget exactly what the phrase was, but I think it had to do with the police, and you'll get like a little blip on your map. And the last one time I went to one, it was just a clump of gang members, and they had shot at me, I shot at them, and that was it. Like there wasn't any resolution, so I wasn't sure if I did it right or wrong. Mm-hmm. And then there were some people that were, nearby that just crouched down till the end of time. So I guess they were unfortunate victims. I don't know.
Well, hopefully they fix that, because it sounds like there's a really great game hidden in just like unfinished business. I don't really know what's going on there.
I don't really know. I know if any of you have actually gotten like made it through all of this complaining and bitching about Cyberpunk, which I'm sure you're all tired of, just like I am. I'm sorry, but
a game is worth being criticized for, especially one with this much.
It has a lot of potential, and it just doesn't feel like it met any of the potential. Like it's just kind of gliding there, and the story's really good, the characters are really good, but everything around them isn't. It just isn't. So yeah, I mean, I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk. I'm still enjoying it. I'm gonna keep playing it. Yeah, but that's really a lot of my new reactions with the game. Is there's not a lot of good besides the story.
Well, let's hope that hopefully you find some more in the next episodes to come.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have more positive things to say about the game, because I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm not just gonna close it and never play it again. But like,
I'm enjoying this saga. I'm waiting for the episode you come on and you're like, okay, it finally clicked. Yeah, and everything is making sense now. So like,
well, at least I hope the hacking will make more sense, because as of yet, it does not. I mean, everything else has clicked as much as it's gonna click. There needs to be an update at this point to where, okay, oh my god, they updated the AI. It's so fun now. Like the AI actually tries to live. Like they actually want to live. Like I can't wait for that.
Oh god. Well,
anyway, I digress about Cyberpunk. Let's move on.
There were some good stories in there, though.
So how about you, Garrett? Like, you've been playing Valhalla. You must have some things to say about it besides just monks being ravaged.
Not too much more. I'll keep it brief since I've already talked a lot about Valhalla as well.
I talked a lot already.
It's been fun. Like, I'm enjoying the game. It's just, as I mentioned before, you're in England and your job is to create an alliance with literally everyone in the area. And so each area that you go into has its own different story. Some of them are a little... One thing I will say is that they're all very predictable. Okay. The storylines are very predictable. Some of them are a little cliche.
In a disappointing way, or in a...
I mean, I still enjoy it. I like to see it through, but it's like I'm going through the process like, okay, I can tell this guy's betraying this person. I can tell this is the actual bad guy.
So you're not really being drawn too far into it?
No. Some of them are better than others.
Okay.
Like, one of them I recently went to, it was on like the western side of England or whatever like that. And so it was kind of they were doing this like tradition thing. It was like a Halloween kind of thing, like a wicker man where you like light the straw man on fire to like
somebody in the straw man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I love how I guessed that. Okay.
So I mean that's part of the ritual is someone gets sacrificed for the harvest.
They purposely okay.
They purposely.
Okay. I thought somebody got snuck inside.
No. It's a whole ritual where it's almost like a like the Midsummer thing where like you
don't spoil the movie. Don't spoil the movie.
Well, yeah. Anyways, so
Midsommar.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. It's actually quite different. So it doesn't spoil the movie. But in this game, it's like the crops were really bad, and so someone has to sacrifice themselves to the gods.
Was it like the virgin daughter? And she was.
No, it wasn't like that. But of course, it was one of those situations where it was like,
is it the right thing to do?
Well, it's like, I don't want to spoil anything, basically. It was just like, I could tell what was going on here. Or actually, no, this was one that was actually interesting.
So was it juicy?
This one was a good one.
Okay.
It was one, what I like is that some of these missions are very serious, and then some of them are very fun.
Okay.
Like this one, the reason you go there is because your blacksmith has fallen in love with someone from that town. And so...
Pretty classic.
Yeah, and so you basically get told to go there to like get him basically.
Don't you love playing delivery boy?
Yeah, so you go there, you meet him, you meet the wife, and what's really funny is like she has such a heavy accent that you literally can't understand what she's saying. I have subtitles on and it says like indescribable.
Gibberish?
It says like indescribable chatter or something like that. And like if you listen really closely, you can hear some English in there.
Is she Welsh?
It's like something really, really strong.
Because I know that's a stereotype with Welsh people from like the England point of view.
It sounds very Welsh.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's like she's talking jumbled words, and it's like there's some sense in there. And your main character always just like stares at her and like moves along with the subject because he doesn't actually know what she's saying. It's actually really funny.
Okay, I like that. That sounds good. That sounds like Fable.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then it's like Halloween, and so they make you put a mask on. You have to like go knock on doors and trick or treat. And something that's really cool in this game, it's called I think I've talked about it before. It's called flighting or flitting, and it's basically like wordplay, rhyming. And it's a...
I don't think you've talked about that. Go on.
No, yeah, it's actually really fun. So this is something you can find in every town, most every town. And there's someone that's like, they challenge you basically. And what they do is it's basically a back and forth like roast fest basically, where you're roasting each other, except it's in poetry. So you have to, they say something back to you, and then you get 3 options, and you have a timer. And you have to pick the right one, and it has to match the same syllable cadence that they said.
Oh, so this is like a rap battle.
Yeah, it's like a rap battle. So, like, for example, it's like, you smell like a fish, and you run like a swine, and you would have to say something that has to follow the same one. Well, your grandma's...
bovine.
Your grandma's a wench. And your grandpa's a bove. I'm making shit up. Right?
No. I
get
it.
It gets really funny. Like everyone is different.
Does it work?
It is.
Okay,
it's actually a lot of fun.
Because it sounds like it would kind of take you out of this experience a little bit because it's so goofy.
No, well, I think it's a part of the actual Norse culture.
No, I fully believe that. I feel like it's a hard thing to incorporate in a game without being too gamey.
So, well, no, it works pretty well.
Okay.
You're just walking through town and they're like, hey, I challenge you. You look like you got away with words. And of course, your main character is like a walking poetry book.
I challenge you to a battle of witticisms.
It's like, I'm as clever as I'm strong. It's a lot of fun, and there's some that are serious, you know, where you like really start roasting each other, and then there's other fun ones where there's like you get to this one where you have to, she makes you take a drink after each one, and then like apparently whatever you're drinking is extremely strong, and your guy's getting more and more drunk each sip you take, and you like select on the very last one you select an option. And then it's just like all jumbled words. He's just like, and then she's like, well done. That was the best. I've never fought anyone stronger than you in wordplay.
And you just vomit all over her.
And then you just like finish. And it's really funny.
I like that. That actually is very fun sounding.
I'll pull another one. There's another town where there's like some guy who's apparently like undefeated. He's the best.
Ooh.
And you can't even see who he is. You have to go into a room and he like does it through some like veil or window.
Like a priest?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a confessional kind of thing.
Okay.
Except you don't know where he is. But the funny thing is he's actually really, really bad. And so, like, he, like, pretends like he knows what he's doing, and then you start rhyming back, and then he's just, like, he just gives up eventually, and, like, you can, like, see him running away at the end of it. You can see he's, like, he flees.
Is it just that everyone in the village is so stupid that he's good?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a prank or not, or if everyone's so bad that he thinks he's good. It's just a fun little thing that they have a really good balance in this game of seriousness, sadness, and just funny. I'm actually really enjoying this game.
And that right there, that's charm.
It is.
Like that's really... charm. Like in any game can have charm to it. It doesn't matter if it's Gears of War or if it's Valhalla. Like it's an important aspect in a game is to have that balance between seriousness and fun. And
I really enjoy the main character. Like I think Eivor is a really good character because he's Norse and he's a Viking. Yeah. And so he has this like battle mentality, but as he's come to England and he's interacted with a new kind of people, especially like a big Christian culture, he's understanding like mercy. And so you start learning like, maybe I don't have to be an aggressive asshole in every single, you can be, you have options to always be an aggressive asshole. But just the fact that you can play the good guy. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. Like when you play good guy, sometimes it stabs you in the back, and you're like, "I should have just cut his head off. Like I should have popped him like a melon."
But those are great interactions too.
They are, and I mean, you still get the chance sometimes. It's just like, at what cost? And there's a lot of decision making in this game. That's one thing I didn't expect. Is almost all these main things you have to make a big choice, which affects the game.
And they feel important. Like they feel significant.
Yeah, I mean, it's like significant, and I'm pretty sure at the very end of the game, all of your choices that you make are going to accumulate to an end game.
Okay.
Because you're making all these alliances.
Good.
And each alliance you make, you're making a choice which affects that area.
So are you still encountering your brother, like Bindi? What is his name?
Sigurd.
Sigurd, that's it.
Yeah, so Sigurd, he's back from his thing.
Is he like,
he's
is he
back
still,
in town.
Still bitter and angry?
He's still bitter and angry, and he thinks he's a god.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Is he gonna... So on that note, is the game still going with a kind of slightly supernatural thing? Is he actually going to become a god?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm sorry. Is he actually a god?
Well, we don't know.
Oh,
I mean, Lord knows with Assassin's Creed.
Well, that's the thing. Like the Pope turned out to be an alien, so
I know
he could actually be a god. That's what I'm wondering.
That's what I'm thinking. But there is a lot of god play in this.
God play. That's a fetish.
It's Eivor's fetish is god play, like pretending to be Odin.
Eivor and it's Bindi. No, it's
Sigurd.
Sigurd. That's it.
No, there's you have like this weird connection with Odin.
Eivor does.
Eivor does.
Okay.
And so like in a lot of situations like where you have to make a choice, it does this kind of, the Assassin's Creed, it fades out and you go into like the shadow realm. And Odin's talking to you. And he's giving Eivor like advice, and it's not always good advice. It's always like straight up Viking Norse advice.
Jimmy Neutron's dad. He's giving you advice. Jimmy. Sorry, Jimbo. I sent you to the shadow realm.
Okay, maybe that was the wrong word to use. That's all I can think of too. It's kind of cool, No,
I mean it sounds good. I'm just being silly.
And sometimes what he says makes me want to change my mind.
Yeah.
Where he's like, because he always has the Vikinger mentality where it's like,
Stop being nice to the peasants. Kill them.
Yeah, like
Enslave them.
like he insulted you. What are you going to do about that? You're gonna let him live? He's just scum on this earth. Like the world's for the strong. When you're like, I kind of wanted to save his ass, but
The weak will perish and the strong will reign.
that's the thing. He's like,
Your brother's a god.
he's in the way of your glory. What are you going to do about that? Because that's the whole thing is glory.
Oh, what are you
glory.
going to do about that? He's like one of the popular girls at school. What are you going to do about it?
Don't you want to be cool like us in Valhalla?
Don't you want to sit at our table?
It's I don't know. It's one of these games where I'm ready to be done with it, but at the same time, I know the instant I finish it, I'm gonna be like, well, there's probably more I can do, right?
I mean, well, you're enjoying it, and
I'm
that's
enjoying it, and
that's cool.
these little things are just like, every night after work, I come home and I do a new area.
You open up the book again. You're ready for the next chapter.
It's a new chapter,
Yeah.
and I think I'm on my second to last chapter in England, honestly. So
Awesome.
I don't know if it's gonna take me back to Norway, because there's still land over there. I need to, like, high leveled shit over there that I need to do. So right now I'm in Winchester.
But what level are you at now?
I'm like 240 something,
Damn.
and like some of the areas are 300. So
Damn.
I don't know. It's easy to level up if you do a lot of the side missions. They're very, very fast and they give a lot of XP. So if I just farmed like a bunch of like the question marks on the map, I would be able to level up very quickly. But
Okay.
I'm just focusing on main. But yeah, right now I'm in Winchester. It's kind of cool. There's a lot of real cities in here. I mean, I doubt this is what they actually looked like back then.
Of course, yeah.
But it's kind of cool. They say, there's like St. Paul's like cathedral, or
St. Paul's Cathedral?
maybe that's real, right?
Well,
In Winchester.
I don't think it was built.
Minster, St. Paul's Minster. There's a lot of Minsters. I don't know. There's a lot of Minsters going on here.
I don't think the cathedral I'm thinking of. I don't think was built. Because
No.
it's built in like a neoclassical style, so I don't think that existed.
No, it's a wooden
Okay.
big chapel
Okay.
thing, but
Okay.
it's just like, I don't know. There's a lot of names on here that sound like they're real structures, and I don't know if this is their interpretation of like this was the very beginning of it. Like it was just like this wooden chapel.
That's
thing.
pretty much. I think that's exactly what you're saying. Because
Yeah.
a lot of England's current structures were heavily revitalized, or yeah.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I mean, basically the people that you're dealing with, so far in this game are, like the Norse from Norway. You got the Danes from Denmark. I'm
Of course.
right. And then you got Anglo-Saxons, which are basically people from Germany, right?
The Saxons.
Yeah. And then the Picts, which are more in the north.
Like the Pikmin.
Yeah, the Pikmin, and like, no, the Picts are. I looked into it. They're Scottish.
Okay.
They're like
okay.
Scottish, but they're also Christian, so they're not pagan.
Oh, it's Scottish. Yeah.
So of course they're like, you pagans, pagan this, pagan that.
yeah.
You're always just a filthy pagan with your gods. And of course Eivor's like, he's always talking about like Christian god, like
Is
weak
he
god.
going to
and-
change to like the true religion?
I
Like
don't think he's going
because
to.
Protestantism doesn't exist yet, so England's true religion is not that yet.
Just Catholicism,
yes, yes, the one and only,
right?
the pagan Christianity.
So, anyways, very good time. I'm probably very close to finishing it.
Cool.
I would say by the time our next episode, I'll be done with the game.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear more about it and to hear if so and so is actually. I wonder who's the alien.
I mean, I don't want to spoil.
I wonder who's going to be the alien. I just want to know if the Pope's going to like time travel and be the alien again. I just
It's like
wanna
all
know.
the bishops of all the churches are going to combine together into one giant ancient alien.
combine into like this massive like thing of popes. The
God.
Pope like monster.
It's a very interesting game though. I'm having a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, that's good, dude. I'm glad because I feel like mine was so crappy like on the game, and I'm glad to hear you talk so well about yours.
Yeah. Well, this was a very long-winded episode, but it is the first of the year, so we are a couple weeks dry, so that we got you a lot of content here. I think we're hitting about like almost an hour and 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can wrap it up here and call it a night.
Yeah. Let's go ahead
That
and
was
do
a lot
that.
of fun, actually. I miss talking about
And
this stuff.
yeah, and I hope that was all interesting to listen to, and
Yeah.
tune in next time for more antics of Cyberpunk and some more Valhalla.
Hopefully more Valhalla. I'm excited to talk about new games. That's
Yeah.
why I have my backlog.
Yeah.
Is I want to make sure I have something new to talk about each
I'm actually
time.
kind of pumped for Hollow Knight now. Like
Yeah,
that was just on my list, but now I'm kind of like stoked to play.
I'll let you know when I'm done with Valhalla, and we should just like dive into that.
I agree. That's gonna be cool.
So another New Year's resolution I just thought of is we should be more active on our social medias, because
That's something I've been trying to do since the advent of like Facebook and MySpace.
I know,
Like,
and it's very hard because we're both busy people.
Yeah.
Like we got a lot going on, and so, but we can do it, and I want to do it. So I think from now on, what we are on Twitter, Instagram, both at Pod Out of Mana. We've also got a Twitch channel, which is Out of Mana Plays, and Ben made us a YouTube, right?
Yes.
Which you just search Out of Mana.
You search Out of Mana and you'll see all our episodes on there. If you listen to it through a different service, you'll see all our episodes on YouTube as well. And we also have our email.
Yeah.
Which is podoutofmana@gmail.com.
And we are very excited for this new year. As we mentioned earlier in the show, we both want to start learning video editing because we both want to start creating more fun content, especially
definitely.
for the YouTube channel.
Definitely.
So,
and one thing we really want, we're gonna spice everything up. Like
Yes.
there's gonna be a whole bunch of spice here and there, and including a lot more just pizzazz to the podcast itself, as well as maybe even other types of content. We'll see.
exactly.
We will see on that regard.
It's all just fun. So,
Yeah.
and we're glad you're here to join us. So until next time, you've been listening to Out of Mana.